As a photographer, you're always trying to control where the viewer looks when they look at your photo. Where you place an object in your photo becomes very important. As a viewer, you never think that you're being controlled, but when someone points out what the photographer is doing, you start to see there's an artistic science behind composition in each photo. One of those ways to accomplish where your eye is looking is the fine art of framing. Framing is just one of the many ways to control where your eye looks, and it is also the focus of this video. The underlying principle of framing is this: don't let the viewer's eye leave the photo. Trap it and control it. Just like you put a frame around a picture, you can do the same thing within a photo even before you add a physical frame. Use branches, clouds, buildings, and just about anything to keep your eye into the picture, and use it to control where the viewer looks. The easiest way to explain this is to show you. The subject of this photo is the government building. Notice how the flowers and the tree branches do not let your eye escape the picture, and how the framing always forces your eye to go back to the subject of the photo. That is framing, and it is a very effective tool used in photography. There are two types of framing. Obvious framing is when it's so obvious what the photographer is doing. You can get some very creative shots using this technique. The other form is subtle framing. Subtle framing is when you cannot tell that it's being used. It's done so well that you're not even aware of it, but the photographer is using it to make the photo more interesting. Here are a few tips and tricks on how to make your framing less obvious. First, you don't have to have framing on all four corners all the time. If your subject is in one corner, feel free to use framing technique on 1, 2, or 3 corners of the photo. Use paths or natural lines in nature to point you back to the subject. Remember, you're trying to get the viewer's eye in a loop that always comes back to your subject. Also, make sure your subject is the most colorful. Make sure that your subject is in the correct exposure, even if that means the rest of your picture is too dark. Make sure that your subject is something that people want to see. Try and pick an interesting subject so that the viewer wants to step in the picture and discover it for themselves. There's nothing more powerful than breaking through the trees into a beautiful scenic vista. Well, that's it for this video. Just leading your eye through photography. Have fun and keep shooting.